It's Monster Mayhem as Toho gathers up their biggest all-stars to fight King Ghidorah and the Kilax in what was meant to be Toho's last Godzilla movie. It's time for Destroy All Monsters here on the Atomic Lizards podcast.
Hello and welcome to Atomic Lizards. We're a trio of friends podcasting about the Godzilla franchise and other films we love. I am Miranda, the film fanatic.
I'm Udi, the de facto film expert.
And I'm Dan, the Kaiju extraordinaire.
And today we're talking about Destroy All Monsters.
In today's film, Destroy All Monsters, humans have achieved world peace by the year 1999, and various giant monsters are confined to an area known as Monsterland. The monsters are freed from the area and are mind controlled by aliens known as the Kilax, who send them to attack major cities. When the monsters are freed from the Kilax influence, the aliens send King Ghidorah to challenge the other monsters.
Directed by Ishiro Honda, with special effects directed by Sadamasa Arikawa and supervised by Eiji Tsuburaya, this film is the ninth film in the Showa era and features 11 monsters including Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, Anguirus, and Manila. The film stars Akira Kubo, Jun Tazaki, Yukiko Kobayashi, and Yoshio Tsuchiya. All right, well, what did you all think of Destroy All Monsters?
Would you like to go first, Miranda?
Sure, why not? I can go first. Okay, so I liked this movie. I think the moon base is very cool. At one point there's the lab and there's like a little map of the island, and that just reminded me of Spy Kids 2 when they have all their creatures on this like mini map. Even though they didn't show the creatures on the map, that image popped into my head. But I like that we're back in the cities and we're destroying things, and we're kind of in an island slash a jungle ish type because of Monsterland, but like I like the fact that it like focuses mostly on like the monsters destroying the city all around the world this time. Guess they have the budget to do other places this time, unlike the other movie we talked about, which I forgot which one it was the last time that came up. I like the sci-fi ness of it, like the yellow spacesuits and the fact that they use the spaceship as basically a car. It's like we're in a spaceship, we're just gonna fly it everywhere, to do whatever, which I enjoyed. And I liked the ending battle where they all beat up King Ghidorah. That was interesting to watch, I guess.
They literally curb stomped him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just basically kicked him to death, and then there's blood in it too, which I was not expecting.
during the King Ghidorah fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Anguirus like bites one of the heads, and it like bleeds.
Huh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, oozes a little barbecue sauce.
um, I'm glad we got to see Mothra again, even though she's in larva form. It's always cool when they include her.
Guess they didn't have the budget for the actual Mothra puppet or whatever,
Yeah, but they got the budget for like 10 other monsters, including Manila.
including monsters that didn't even appear in any Godzilla films.
That's true. I was like, there's the T-Rex one, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know who this guy is.
Good
What's his
old
deal?
Gorosaurus. He first appeared in Toho's one and only King Kong movie after King Kong vs. Godzilla, King Kong Escapes. That was the first movie he appeared in because they go to like the island to Kong's Island, and obviously Kong's Island has dinosaurs in it, and the dinosaur was
Obviously.
Gorosaurus. Yep. So, and Godzilla, Kong actually kills Gorosaurus in that movie. So I have no idea how he's back. Well, I guess he's a species. So
Probably. I mean, Anguirus is back too, and he like died.
this is also true. Yeah.
I don't think they're too worried about at what point each monster died, especially because this movie takes place in like 1999. So
Yeah.
it's in the future. Unfortunately, not everything is in chrome. as it should have been, but that's okay. In general, I really liked this one. I think it was a good like ending to the Showa movies that have we have been watching. If it was the end of Godzilla, I think it fits well with everything. And they like all get to have like a little moment at the end, the monsters that is, have a little moment at the end and they like get to live on their little island until whatever comes next.
The little retirement home.
Yeah. But I'll pass it on to Udi. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna keep mine very brief. I liked it. I have been kind of looking forward to movies like this, like us to get to more Godzilla movies like this, where it's just all of the monsters in a single movie, kind of fighting and or just doing random shenanigans. And this was fun. It was a little convoluted, a little dumb. Characters were brought back without any explanation, but I was like, you know what? I don't even care. It was pretty fun. Uh, was this the first time that Godzilla had his back scales light up when he shot his atomic breath?
No, he did that in the original 1954 film.
Huh, okay. I couldn't remember, but it looked very cool in this one. There's a distinct shot of him when I think when they're showing all the monsters attacking all the major cities. There's a shot of him from behind where he's atomic breathing like a city or something, or like a bay. I don't know, but it looks really cool. I was like, dang,
Yeah,
Godzilla is so cool.
he's attacking New York actually. So Godzilla's
Oh
finally like, "You know
yeah,
what? I've had enough of Japan. Screw you, America. I'm coming after you."
yeah. Destroy
So
New York, Goji. Good job.
I think he destroys like the UN building.
He does actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Political. I
yeah.
like it.
I just want to say Hobie Brown would be proud.
Obi Brown. He's an anarchist.
Yep.
But yeah, I liked it, and I thought it was just good kaiju fun. So that's what I'll leave it at. And then it's up to you now, Dan. What did you think?
So I just want to start off by saying I'm in the same boat as you guys. I did enjoy this one mainly because just the last two, Son of Godzilla and Godzilla versus the Sea Monster or Ebra Horror of the Deep. Even though I do claim that Son of Godzilla is like a guilty pleasure of mine, it's still pretty bad. And this one compared to those two was just so much better because like Miranda's saying, you know, we got some destruction back, some good old-fashioned destruction. I mean, Ebra Horror of the Deep had a little bit of destruction, but there was like no destruction at all in Son of Godzilla. So it was nice to see that come back. It was really fun, like seeing, I guess, Toho have their quote unquote Avengers moment where they like bring all the characters from previous films together for one big fight scene against King Ghidorah. By far, at least in my opinion, the best part of the movie is the fight against King Ghidorah. And let me just say, so they gather up all the monsters. You know, you got Godzilla, you got Rodan, Mothra, Anguirus, and then Manila is just there. Manila, it was funny because when I was watching this movie, I was thinking, okay, what the heck are you gonna do against Manila? Or against Manila. What the heck are you gonna do against King Ghidorah, Manila? Or you're gonna fire a smoke ring at him? Like, come on. No, he does even less than that. He does absolutely nothing in the fight against King Ghidorah. Manila is
There. It does nothing.
he does
Like
nothing.
why
He
did
just
they have to
stands there.
include him?
I don't know. He literally just stands there. You know what Manila is? Manila is that one person in your group project that contributes nothing to the group project and then afterwards takes all the credit. That's what
Manila
Manila.
Manila is Batman in the third act of Batman versus Superman, just standing there trying to avoid getting shot at.
Exactly.
But
So
can you guys imagine if the final boss at the end of the movie had been Manila? Like
that would
they're
be
like, "Oh no, who's that?" And then it's just Manila. He's like, "Rah."
it'd be even better than that. What if the big bad was Manila and then Godzilla just went up and just like kicked him and that was it?
He
Like
just sits there crying.
yeah, well not even that. He kicks him and he just goes flying like across the world, like across the planet. Like
Better with
That's
you,
what I'm
son.
imagining.
Pow.
Yeah, screw you, Manila. But yeah, Manila did absolutely nothing. I have no idea why he even needed to be there because like I thought okay, he's going to at least like shoot a smoke ring at Ghidorah and like the smoke ring is going to go around his neck or something, but no, that not even that. So you suck, Manila.
I mean,
Despite
he does do the smoke ring, and then it, like, makes a loop up, like, it doesn't, like, phase through it, it, like, loops up and, like, King Ghidorah's, like, wearing it as a necklace. Like, the physics of the smoke ring does not make sense, which is a small thing to complain about in a kaiju movie, but
yeah.
it's just like, why?
Yeah. I was gonna say to be fair, like there's all like it's a kaiju movie. There's already kinds of all ridiculous stuff happening. So like something like the physics of a smoke ring is going to catch your attention because that's just like way out there. Like what? But yeah, other than like Manila contributing nothing to the fight, the fight between all the monsters and Ghidorah near the end is awesome. One of the best parts of the movie. As we've already mentioned, it was cool to see all the monsters get mind controlled by the Kilax and literally go on like a worldwide rampage. You had Mothra in Beijing, you had Anguirus in I don't remember what city Anguirus was attacking. Uh,
Someone's in France and someone's in Moscow.
Oh, and well, Rodan attacked Moscow.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, Rodan attacked Moscow, and then fun little fact here. I might be stealing from your fun facts here, Miranda, but
That's
the
alright.
the one that attacks in Paris is Gorosaurus, but
Oh,
that was
okay.
originally supposed to be Baragon. If you were, Baragon first appeared in the movie Frankenstein versus Baragon, or as it's known over here in the U.S., Frankenstein Conquers the World. That was the first movie that he appeared in, so that's where he comes from, and he burrows
Okay.
underground in that movie, and that's why during that scene they still call him Baragon because they say Baragon is in Paris, and that's why we see Gorosaurus like coming out of the ground because that was supposed to be Baragon, but I don't remember why it wasn't Baragon. Maybe they were having issues with the suit because Baragon does appear in the movie. He appears at the very end when they're showing all the monsters with their little cameos. So they
Yeah.
they had access to the suit, but I'm not sure. I don't remember why they weren't able to use it.
Yeah, I think it was a suit problem. I watched a couple, like, history video essays about, this movie if, like, beforehand, but it's been a, like, moment. But I think it was something to do with the suit because they, like, loaned it to a different studio, and then they, like, modified it for TV, and then by the time they got it back, they didn't have enough time to, like, repair it or something like that, because a lot of these suits are, like, old and, like, falling apart, so that could've been why, but
Yeah,
again, I'm
I'll,
not
I'll
sure.
I'll have to look that up actually, but yeah. So fun little fact there. That was supposed to be Baragon, but anyway, let me see. So yeah, when they're all attacking all the cities, like that was kind of cool. It was. I think we've already said it was kind of fun to see Godzilla pick on America for once. So yeah, I guess all in all, like Miranda was saying, if this ended up being the last Godzilla movie we ever got, like it was originally supposed to be, I think this is a good ending for the franchise, at least for the Showa era. This is definitely a good ending, but obviously these movies were too popular, and Toho was like, "We need more money, make us more Godzilla movies," and the series and the franchise continued many, many years afterwards. But it did, I believe it did take a slight break. Like I believe there was a good couple of years before the next Godzilla film came out after this movie released. So, but yeah, all in all, fun movie. Uh, not the best in the Showa era, but also not the worst. Fun one to go out on.
I do feel like for being the ending of an era and or technically the franchise up until this point, the ending didn't offer a lot of resolution or anything, which for like a kaiju movie, fair, but for like the ending of the franchise seems odd. Maybe at least nowadays, but uh, had a very Transformers Dark of the Moon type ending where it just kind of ends at the end of it. I mean, that's how they all kind of end, but
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea we're supposed to get from it is like all the monsters are safe. They can continue living on Monster Island, or I guess how it's known here, Monster Land. They can continue living on Monster Island, and you know they. I think what they're implying is that they live on in peace afterwards because like they claim if you remember at the beginning of the movie the monsters can't leave Monster Island because like they set up contingencies around the island to prevent any of the monsters from leaving. So they're
Yeah.
kind of trapped there, but like they're being taken care of. So I guess it's
I
not all
just
too bad.
I just wonder how did they I don't remember. Did they explain how they captured them?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so. See, I was under now this is just my headcanon, but I was under the impression that the island that Son of Godzilla took place on is what became Monster Island because Godzilla and Manila were already there, Komunga was already there. So
Hmm.
like I that's my like headcanon is that that island just became Monster Island because they even make a joke in Son of Godzilla where it's like they should call this place Monster Island.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that.
Yeah. But yeah, let's kind of circle back to like the Ghidorah fight. Like Anguirus definitely pulled his own weight. Like he went ham on Ghidorah, like literally biting onto his neck as Ghidorah flew up into the air and just hanging on. Like god dang. I think Anguirus was the MVP of that fight.
Yeah, I think so. Like, cause he does that and then he falls into the ground, causing a landslide. And like, if he didn't do that, they would have never found the alien base.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
he's the I don't know, true hero of the fight, I guess, maybe? I don't know.
Anguirus is the MVP.
Yeah, especially because, like, I think not a lot of people really like the second Godzilla movie,
No.
Godzilla Raids Again, and I think that's is that the only one he appears in? Or does he
In
show up
the
later in
He
somewhere
shows up
else?
later, but up to this point, up to Destroy All Monsters at least, yes, Godzilla Raids Again has been the only movie that Anguirus has appeared in.
Hmm, okay. Yeah, then it was nice that he got his moment. Like,
Yeah,
one
I
of the
agree.
2 original, like, kaijus
Yeah.
battling it out.
I also thought it was somewhat confusing. Like, they show King Ghidorah like stomping on Anguirus to like show that Anguirus has been beat and like Ghidorah is victorious. But like he's literally digging his feet into Anguirus's spines. Like, kind of confusing the message there because I feel like that would hurt.
I will say, speaking of his spines and like something like that, the part where they got like knocked out by sleeping gas, like the kaiju, uh, I, can you imagine if they had killed Rodan off that way, where because he landed on Anguirus's spikes, if he just like fell from the sky then got impaled on Anguirus by accident, that's they just killed him like that.
That would be hilarious, honestly.
That would do him so dirty. I wouldn't want that, but that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then like the rest of the movie, Anguirus is just like he just has Rodan on his back,
He just has a dead Rodan just like pierced to his back. Oh my
impaled.
god.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's kind of
It's a little
dark
morbid,
there.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
morbid,
God
that's it.
damn.
There, that was just the first thing I thought of when I watched that scene.
Yeah. So we have the return of aliens to the Showa movies. What was the last film they were in? Probably Godzilla versus Monster Zero or Invasion of Astro Monster, right?
Bazillions.
The Zillions, yes.
Yeah.
So we have the return of aliens. This time they're called the Kilax. What did you guys think of the Kilax? I don't know. I kind of like the Zillions a little better, but because the Zillions are just ridiculous, like 1960s, like cheap sci-fi villains, so I think that kind of adds to their charm. But the Kilax were okay. I do think that it's kind of weird that their true forms are these like weird little worms that so
Yeah, that was kind of strange because they
yeah.
like is it that they can't live in cold and that's like why they're trying to like take over Earth?
They can't live in extreme temperatures. I honestly don't remember if it was extreme heat or extreme cold.
Huh.
I think it might have been extreme heat. but I
Yeah,
could be
okay.
wrong.
Well, either way, they don't really expand much on them, really.
Nah, they're just there to be the villains, really.
Yeah. I do like that it was, like, an all-female alien race, so that was kinda cool,
Yeah,
and
that was interesting.
I liked that the main, woman, I don't remember her character's name or her real name, unfortunately, but that she got to, like, I don't know, do stuff and, like, was, like, the leader, the human leader of the aliens because 'cause they're being mind controlled, and I like the fact that when she goes to, like, the one building where they're all, like, sitting in because, like, all the kaijus destroyed all of Tokyo, and she goes down to wherever they're staying, and she tells the one guy to basically shut up. She's like, "You might not want to listen to me, but they might want to, so be quiet." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, stand up for yourself, even if you're an alien being controlled and you wanna take over Earth." Still, like, I don't know, I liked that part. I
Yeah.
did not like the part where he yanked her earrings off of her, though. That
Yeah,
seems very painful.
that was a little, yeah, it was a little rough. You know what else was I was not expecting? They have that part where they're like doing surgery on that one guy to like get the mind control thing out of his head, and they like actually show the doctors like cutting into his head, and then they go back and they just show it like open. I was like, dang, this is kind of gory. Like I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, this surprisingly, like, a lot of blood in this one,
Yeah,
which
just
is
wait.
strange.
Just wait. There's another Godzilla movie where it's literally like splurting blood everywhere.
Like a Saw
Okay.
movie,
In a way, yeah.
like an Evil
Um,
Dead movie.
yeah. Or the frickin' The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The
Oh yeah,
Shining, where that literal
Elevator.
elevator blood, yeah. Oh, it's not that bad actually.
Dang.
But I did think it was classic for that scene in Tokyo where you get just got all the monsters just show up to Tokyo. It's like, some of the worst places to live would be like Gotham City in the DC universe, New York City in the Marvel universe, and Tokyo in the Godzilla universe. So
I feel like the residents would just build like a giant dome and then be like, "All right, stop attacking us," or they would just leave. Like Tokyo would just be abandoned at that point.
yeah, just be like, all right, we're done. I'm out of
Yeah.
here.
Screw this. You can have it.
Not much to say about the main characters. I just felt like they were kind of there.
Yeah.
They weren't really memorable like in some of the other past Godzilla movies.
There were a couple of returning actors, but again, like as per usual, they were just playing different characters, I'm pretty sure. But
Exactly. Yeah, they were. Yeah, there's just really not much to say about the main characters other than that they're just your basic protagonists. They're there to fight against the Kilax and yeah. I wish I had more to say about them, but I honestly don't.
I just wanted to add that the Keylax reveal is basically like the Chicken Little reveal where they're just tiny little aliens taking over humans.
Yeah.
And then also one other thing I wanted to mention was that the UNSC exists apparently in the Godzilla universe, and for those that don't know, the UNSC is the military that is from the Halo franchise. Like, well, I mean, like it's not the same one, but I just thought that was funny that they use the exact same acronym for
I didn't
Godzilla and then for Halo.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the
Okay,
military that supports Master Chief, yep, that's the UNSC or ONI, but that's just like the covert. But yeah, anyway, so what were we gonna say?
send in Master Chief to fight King Ghidorah. I need a weapon.
Do you fight aliens in that game?
You
You
do,
do.
yeah,
Okay.
The
yeah.
what's it called? The Covenant?
The Covenant, yeah, and then there's also like monkey aliens that you fight. They're brutes. That's what they are, brutes.
Monkey.
Monk,
Monk. Reject humanity. Return to monk.
monk. And then there's also Prometheans That's in like the later series of Halo. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So on the
But
Halo podcast.
Haha, just kidding. Today's a Halo
Yeah,
episode,
today's a
not
well,
Halo
I
Godzilla.
got
episode.
nothing
Yeah.
to say about Halo because I didn't
The
know
Halo
anything
show
about it,
sucks. Don't watch it.
but you guys mentioned monkeys. We don't have any King Kong in this,
No
Oh
unfortunately.
Kong
yeah.
representation in Destroy All Monsters. Missed opportunity.
Yeah, I think their contract expired, so they weren't legally allowed to use him. But it
That
would have been
makes
nice to
sense.
like include him.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, it would have been great if Kong would have been around during the final battle. But oh well.
He could have swung his little bat at King Ghidorah a few times.
Could have used his MacGuffin electric powers.
Yeah, his
His
Frankenstein electric
his
powers.
Deus Ex Machina electric powers. It would have been great if we could have gotten Kong during the final battle. Another thing I wanted to comment on is I find it hilarious that back in the 60s, just 60s Japan thought that we were gonna have like lunar bases and rocket ships that could easily go from Earth to the moon in like 1999. Like I just find that kind of funny. But I don't blame them because like see that's the 60s, like the 90s are still like a good 30 years away. Like 30 years from now we're going to be in like the 2050s, 2060s and I'm pretty sure there's like TV shows now that like take place in like the 2060s, 70s, 80s and like they show all this crazy technology that we're probably not going to have when we reach that point in our history.
Yeah, but it's also kind of strange, like, because we're in like the late 60s, so that means like other sci-fi things like Star Trek is like popping up and they have the communicators, which basically like are cell phones. So they have basis and reality in like these movies. But instead
That's
of
true.
flying cars or flying spaceships that are like cars, we get like The Matrix, which is a pretty good movie. And like whatever else happened in 1999.
Jurassic Park, well, that was 1993, not
Yeah, it was
1999,
3.
but well, there was the 1 year out from the first American Godzilla movie.
Yeah, that everyone dislikes. Which eventually we will cover that movie one day. But
Yeah, we will. We'll get to it.
I wanted to ask you guys, like, was there any compositions that you guys like really liked throughout this movie? Because there's like one or two that I was like, that's a very good composition. I like that. Because there's one where the one guy who is being mind controlled, who jumps out the window, like right before that, he's sitting on a bench, and there's some kind of like circle, like art piece wall behind him, and there's two circles and you can see the other two actors who are sitting across from him's face, and I just really liked that composition. So I was wondering if you guys liked any.
Now, when you say composition, what exactly are you referring to music?
No, I'm referring to how images are placed on like screen. So how
Oh,
things are like set up.
okay, so like okay.
Although
Um,
the music is great in this one, I did really enjoy it, but talking
yeah, cause
like image wise.
okay, cause I was gonna say I didn't really pay too much attention to the music, so I'm not sure. But okay, if terms of like favorite shots, then
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to really think about that, honestly. Well, like Udi mentioned earlier, I mean the shot where Godzilla surfaces uh to attack New York is kind of cool. In fact, there's a really classic image of like a behind the scenes picture of like Godzilla like shooting his atomic breath at the UN building. It's like a classic Godzilla image, so I mean, I guess I would say that one probably for me.
Yeah, I think for me, it was probably that one shot that I mentioned earlier. Oops. But the one that I mentioned earlier, where yeah, he emerges in front of New York and atomic breaths. I liked the composition, and I liked the effects that were used for the atomic breath. I just thought, and like the flame special effects were really good after the blast and everything. It was just very well done. I liked it.
I also wanted to mention because you talked about the guy that jumps out the window. Now that scene in itself like shouldn't be funny because it's a guy like killing himself. But the scene in between where he's like falling and you can clearly tell that it's like a dummy, like that, I don't know, man, that's funny. I like that. See, that's what I like about these old movies is I like when you can totally tell that the effects are fake because there's just something, I don't know, there's just something funny about it to me.
It shouldn't be funny, but whenever someone throws like a dummy or not really throws a dummy, but like whenever you're watching a TV show or a movie and someone is like falling and it's just like a dummy and they just like full speed just smash on the ground or something, it shouldn't be funny, but it's pretty funny.
Exactly, and I think it's because you can clearly tell that it's a
It's a dummy.
dummy,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it funny.
Whenever I think of that specifically, not to get off topic, but there's an episode of Community where Pierce gets shot up into the sky and then he comes crashing down and he crashes into like a garbage bin, and that always cracks me up because it just looks so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, that show is over the top and ridiculous. And speaking of that show, I think later in like what the last season maybe, I don't remember for sure, but Abed wears a King Kong versus Godzilla like cute kawaii shirt. And I was like, now I gotta find that shirt because I want that shirt.
Abed is totally a Godzilla fan. I can see it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I watched that show too many times to count, like all the way through, and I don't think I've ever noticed that. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
They Toho just announced that an official Godzilla store is coming back to the US, so maybe
Ooh.
you can find it there.
Is it going to be like the Stranger Things store?
I don't know. I don't know what because they haven't announced where in the US it's coming to, so we'll have to keep an eye out. If it comes to Chicago though, we should definitely try going.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't need more Godzilla merch, but I am willing to purchase more Godzilla merch.
I need more Godzilla merch, so yeah, I definitely need to
I
go.
too need more Godzilla merch. So I
I
guess we're
mean,
going.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're going if it's
let's
close
go.
by. Because if it's like in Los Angeles or somewhere like 3,000 miles away, then maybe not.
You mean you won't drive 12 hours? 12 plus
I
hours?
mean, it would be kind of fun, but I don't have any
Yeah, road
vacation
trip.
time left,
Oh,
so
Would
okay,
definitely be
never
more
mind
than
then.
12 hours.
yeah, if it's like all the
Well,
way to Los Angeles, ugh, no thanks.
yeah. Well, I was just thinking about going to Pennsylvania because there was an
Oh
outdoor there
yeah,
that was showing the Godzilla movies in 35 millimeter, and I think
yeah.
that would have been really cool.
Oh,
But
that would have been awesome, honestly.
it's
Yeah,
slightly too far away from us.
yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately,
but I think seeing like this movie or any of the Godzilla movies like on film would be like really cool because I
no, I agree.
like they should. I hope they do something for the original movie when the anniversary comes out, but like they are making a new one and releasing that later this year. Toho is, so maybe they'll do something cool with that one.
Godzilla -1. I'm so freaking pumped. I just want to say I love the design for Godzilla. I mean, I think his spikes are a little too big, but I'm loving the design so far. Much better than Shin Godzilla's design. That might be a controversial opinion. I don't know, but yeah.
I just like the tone of the trailer so far, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, same.
I hope it lives up
Some
to
good
the hype.
old-fashioned destruction. Yes.
Godzilla is enemy number one again.
Yeah, I am curious. I don't know because we don't know much about this movie, so I don't know if Godzilla is gonna fight another kaiju or if it's just gonna be centered on him again, like Shin Godzilla. So we'll have to see.
I think it would be really cool if it just like focused on him
I agree.
because like you can still like do a lot of stuff with that. Whereas like a lot of the movies that we've watched recently and a lot that we're watching moving forward, um, is always like Godzilla versus insert monster here. Because like there's only like a few where it's like only Godzilla, like and no other monster. At least I know there's the original, the one from the 90s, 2014, I
Yeah, there.
think.
No,
So
2014 had the Muto.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
never
there
mind then.
hasn't been a lot of Godzilla movies that focus. The only ones I can think of are yeah, like you said, the original 1954 film. There was the first film in the Heisei era. That's just called it's called Return, The Return of Godzilla, but over here in America it's called Godzilla 1985. That one's only Godzilla. The '98 film. I was gonna
Like
say
what do you?
God.
Oh wait, no, just kidding. Say that
Yeah,
already.
I was gonna say Godzilla 2000, but no, that's mostly just Godzilla for like the first half, but then another kaiju shows up near the end, so not that one.
I'd be okay if they brought in Mothra, but
Yeah,
I'd be
cause I
okay
was
if
gonna
they didn't.
say I think yeah, there's only like three, four films. So the original, Return of Godzilla and Shin, and then the '98 film. So yeah, there's that's crazy actually. There's only like four Godzilla movies that only focus on Godzilla, unless I'm missing one, which I could be, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, if Godzilla minus one only focuses on Godzilla, that'd be really cool. But
Yeah, I hope
we'll
it's that
see, I
way,
guess.
because I just because we kind of got it, we kind of got this in Shin Godzilla, but I just love when there's a big destruction scene and like Godzilla is the only one causing the destruction. Like that's my bread and butter when it comes to Godzilla movies, and I really am excited to see more of that. It looks like we're gonna get more of that in minus one, so really excited. What I mean, is there anything else you guys really have to say? I mean, unfortunately, I'm just not coming up with much to say about this movie. The really the only big thing that's worth really talking about is the big fight near the end. Otherwise, one like we've already said, like the city destruction scenes are cool and all, but then after that, that's pretty much it. Because once again, just none of the characters are that interesting, like at all.
Yeah, I did like the because they kind of redesigned Anguirus, and they had to be more spiky and more defined. I thought his design was a lot better in this. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much else to say. It was good. It was fun. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a ton between like it started out pretty strong and then like in the middle it kind of slowed down a bit and then the ending was just like the big ending. So it was fun and it was well shot and the special effects were pretty good and them curb stomping and basically burying King Ghidorah all in one go was pretty fun. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, um I do like Anguirus's design. I guess this is a good time to talk about the suits. I like the suits. Godzilla's suit looks way better than Son of Godzilla. I mean, it's not hard to to look better than the Son of Godzilla suit, but yeah, the suit in this movie isn't bad. Heck, even Manila's suit didn't look that bad. The suits were fine in this movie. I thought they all looked good. I mean, Manda looked a little funky, but that's just a big long like eel snake thing, so
What movie does he come from?
so that Manda comes from a movie called Atra. Is it called Atragon? No, I think it's called Atragon. Let me see real quick. I'm pretty sure it's called Atragon. That's you know what? That's actually a surprisingly good movie. It centers around this like underwater civilization that like kind of wants to go to war with like the surface world, and they have this uh like big like submarine type of vehicle that not the underwater civilization but like the main characters in the movie have this like big underwater like submarine vehicle that they use to like travel underwater, and Manda is like the god that that underwater civilization worships, and they were like using Manda. They were like, we'll unleash Manda on you to wreak terror if you don't meet our demands or stuff like that. It's pretty interesting, and if you have like an interest in kaiju movies or even just in Toho in general, like I'd recommend it.
Cool. I know that like they made a bunch of other kaiju movies in the Showa era that aren't just specifically Godzilla. And I guess this movie is also like kind of a conclusion to those movies as well.
Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of other, like we've already said, there's all kinds of other monsters that don't even appear in previous Godzilla movies. Like we've already mentioned Gorosaurus, we mentioned Manda. Varon has a cameo near the end. He comes from another Toho kaiju movie called Varon the Unbelievable. It has a, if you ever gonna watch that movie, only watch the Japanese cut because it has a god awful American cut, and it just completely changes the movie, and it's terrible. Never watch the American cut of Varen the Unbelievable.
Okay,
And
noted.
yeah, and then same with like once again Baragon from Frankenstein versus Baragon is in there, and then I think those are the only monsters I can think of at the moment that weren't originally from a Godzilla movie.
This is kind of like, if we want to compare it to modern day things, this is kind of like the MCU, where each one has like their own little trilogy or like standoff films, and they all come together to like defeat one, like the big bad. But like, I think Udi mentioned at some point, where it's like there's not any big like overarching plot or anything in them. Like, yeah, it's cool the monsters are here, but there's like no like specific thing other than like the aliens taking over them, and that's why they're all there.
Yeah, and like you were saying, it's like I said near the beginning, where Toho kind of just has their Avengers moment, where they finally get to bring in all of these characters that they created from different movies, all get to come together to defeat their Thanos or Loki, which is just King Ghidorah, you know? So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Um, what did you guys think about the fire dragon, which was it's just a spaceship on fire,
Yeah,
but
it was just a spaceship. Yeah.
like it could have been really cool if like Ghidorah had like a partner in crime or whatever to like, cuz it's like a very unfair battle.
Well, to be fair, he does have three heads.
That is true. But they kind of just wiggle around in space. They don't
Because
really do anything.
that's all they can do. the 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 suitmation can only be so advanced,
Yeah, that's
especially for
true.
the 60s.
Yeah. I think the fighting that they did was really good and works well. Like, other than it's kind of silly that they stomp King Ghidorah to death, which is again silly. But there's like a deleted scene from when they're attacking Tokyo where Godzilla, no, maybe Godzilla and the T-Rex one. I don't remember the name.
Oh, Gorosaurus.
Yeah, I think they like end up in a battle together and like fight each other. But like unfortunately it got cut because they're like, why would these monsters fight each other if they're being mind controlled by the aliens to fight and destroy the city? But so there's a deleted scene somewhere out there of that fight, which
Huh, interesting.
could have been cool to see, but they
I
cut it.
mean, Godzilla would mop the floor with Gorosaurus because what can Gorosaurus do? He can do a kangaroo kick. That's like his one contribution in the King Ghidorah fight is he does like this weird like kangaroo kick. Godzilla would destroy him with his atomic breath.
Now I just want a boxing kangaroo to be a kaiju.
There we go. Now we're talking. I wanted to circle back though, because when Miranda was talking about the fire dragon, yeah, it just ends up being a spaceship, which is kind of lame. But it would have been really cool had Toho designed another like original kaiju that to appear in the movie. That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been a little short lived probably, but that's what I thought we were gonna get. I'm like, oh, who are they gonna show off now? But nope, it was just a UFO.
Unfortunately, yep.
I was kind of confused at first though when it was just like this flame flying around everywhere. I was like, is it just like a self-aware, like sentient, eternal flame?
I mean, we could pretend it is. What did you guys think of like the gun versus laser gun battle on the beach? Like, did you guys have any thoughts on that? Because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting as well. When I was first like watching it, I was thinking, um, why do the guns that these people are using sound so weird? And it didn't click with me at first, but I was like, oh, it's because they're aliens, so they're using alien guns. Like that that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, they're aliens, and I kind of like the costuming for that part too, because I think like you have the mind control humans and then the normal humans, and they're wearing different colors. I think the normal humans are wearing black, and the mind control aliens are like wearing tan. I was like, oh,
Oh,
that's
I
an
thought it was the other
interesting.
way around. I thought the normal humans were wearing tan and the mind controlled were in black suits, but
Okay, maybe it's switched. I don't
yeah, I don't know.
remember.
One
One
of
or
us
the
is
other.
correct. Yeah, one of us is correct.
Yeah. But either way, I was like, "Oh, it's a nice little, like, color coding thing," because that's, like, one of the things I like in films when they do, like, small color coding things. For example, Baby Driver does that, and, it's just, like I don't know if they intended to do it or not, if that's just the suits they had for the characters, but
They probably did because they probably wanted the audience to be able to differentiate between who's mind controlled and who isn't. But then again, you could just look at who's using the laser guns and who's using regular guns.
yeah, yeah. That's one giveaway.
Yeah.
But anywho, so should we go to the lizard fact of the day?
Well, I have fun facts.
Oh, just kidding. We'll go to the fun facts of the
Lay it
day.
on us with those fun facts.
The director, Ishiro Honda, wanted the film to have a greater focus on the inner working of Monster Land, like how the monsters are fed, like he wanted underwater scenes and like uh early concepts of the monsters being like created on the island. Unfortunately that was deemed too expensive, so they couldn't like do that. So I think that's why in the beginning they have that narration. They're like, the monsters live here. Here's how we keep them on there. Don't worry, they can have food. There's plenty of fish out in the ocean, and they can like eat and like live on this island in peace. Um, so like, it could have been a slightly different movie, but like, even though this movie had a larger budget, it still wasn't like enough money to do like that type of story. Uh,
Well, that would have been cool. I would have been down for that.
yeah, it could have been cool. So apparently Varon was supposed to have a larger role in the film. I think we already mentioned that. But unfortunately he couldn't have a larger role because the suit was deteriorating and the costume was left in storage. So that confirms what we were talking about. I think it was about
Well, I was gonna say you're not confusing. Did you say Varan or Baragon?
Varon.
Okay, because Varan is not the one that was supposed to appear in Paris originally. That was
Oh,
Baragon. And I just
okay.
want to make sure you're not confusing the two. Varen
I
shows up
think
at the
I might
very
be.
yeah, I was gonna say because Varen shows up at the very end to cameo, and it's very
Mhm.
strange because they show all the other monsters, and there's like usually music or sound effects to go along with their cameo, but Varen's is just complete silence. It's like
Oh,
very off-putting.
yeah. Okay, is that the guy like the monster that kind of looks like he's kind of got like half wings?
Yeah,
Like a flying squirrel or something?
yes, exactly. That's Varen.
Okay. Well, I'm guessing the reason he's not in it more is because the suit was deteriorating. Then,
That'll do it.
yeah, but that's strange that there's no like music with his like his like little cameo
I
there.
know it's so off-putting. It's like why? What happened here?
The budget for this film was 3 times that of the original Godzilla film.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
which at the time was one of the most expensive Japanese movies ever made.
Wow. I believe it.
Yeah.
With how much monsters they had.
It's like a finale, so they really did go all out and like tripled the budget. Although I don't know if it really helped them. I still really like the original Godzilla like a lot more. But that's a different like type of movie. It's like if you're going with cheesy sci-fi compared to like a very sad drama, it's like it's
Yeah.
two different things.
Yeah, no, the original 1954 film is in like its own league with the other like Showa era films.
Yeah. And then this is the last movie to made by Godzilla's like four fathers, so original director, composer, producer, and special effects director. Um, so it's like the last one they all got to work on together. And I think that like makes sense for this like last movie, especially if they thought this was going to be the final one. It's like let's get, the original crew back or most of the original crew back to like do something big. So,
Yeah,
um I like that they did that and they like
same.
thought about that, and especially cuz like things started to shift. I think again, I've mentioned this before, but like thing the movie industry was kind of dying down and it was shifting to like television. So, why not one last like hurrah?
Exactly.
A good way to go out for sure.
Definitely. Those are all the fun facts I have. So I could do the lizard fact of the day now.
Lay on that lizard fact.
Sounds good.
For this lizard, I chose the rhinoceros iguana. Mainly because he like kind of looks like he would fit in with these like 11 different kaijus. You know, fits in with the crowd. Although I think some of the creatures are based off an iguana at some point and sometime in all of the Godzilla movies. I just don't remember which ones. But this species is endangered and it lives in the Caribbean islands. It's a pretty large lizard, but it ranges from 24 to 54 inches in length. It can be gray, dark green, and sometimes brown in color. And their name comes from the bony plate pseudo horn or outgrowth, which resembles a horn of a rhinoceros that is on the iguana's snout.
Well, that's cool. That sounds like a cool lizard. I'll have to look into that.
It's pretty cool. And you can always find the photo on our Instagram.
You heard it here, folks. Check out our Instagram if you want to see what this lizard looks
Rhinoceros
like.
iguana.
Yeah, I'll definitely be taking a look.
Dan is gonna legally adopt one any day now.
Hey, I'm gonna adopt him. I'm gonna name him Godzilla.
Yep, so Dan's gonna have a pet rhinoceros iguana, and he'll just be our mascot then. Um,
We'll put him
the
in little
podcast.
shirts.
There we go. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
put him in
totally.
shirts. Yeah, he'll be our mascot.
We'll prototype our
Definitely.
merch on him.
Yeah, we could. Could make mock-ups of that. Yeah, so that's the lizard fact. I guess we could go into star ratings.
All right, so I am going to give Destroy All Monsters a 3.5 out of 5. I wanted to give it a 3. It's really a 3, but I'm gonna give it an extra half star because it is the last hurrah, or it was supposed to be at least the last hurrah for the original Toho Godzilla movies. Um, and like there's special sentimental value in it because, like Miranda said, this was the last movie that the founding fathers of Godzilla all got to work on together, and that you got this big battle against King Ghidorah. It felt right for a finale, minus the ending not really like ending. But yeah, so 3.5.
Okay, Udi?
I feel exactly the same way. I was like, should I go 3 or 3.5? And I genuinely do feel like it is just a 3-star movie. But I don't know, like the elements that I did like, I felt very polished and well done. Like you can tell that this team has worked together for a long time and have built like a rapport. Like they do a good job. And yeah, I just think it was a good send off for this era. So 3.5.
It's a good like middle point of the era because we still have some more to come for the Showa, but it's like a really good ending. And for my score, I also give it a 3.5. Because it's just like, a fun little movie and I enjoyed watching it. I actually watched it with my Criteria collection and then I have a VHS copy of it, so I watched that with the English dubbed on it. And like I was like, "Yeah, no, I like this." I definitely see why like people took to like this movie. Also, I feel like the VHS like quality adds a bit of charm to this movie. And I know not everyone can like watch it that way because most of like unless you have a VHS copy of it, um, you can't really watch it that way. But yeah, so that added a bit of charm and like I said I liked the music. Um I liked all the inclusion of all the monsters and I liked the aliens for this one. Although I wish they would have expanded their like story a little bit, but in general, an enjoyable movie.
Well said. And hey, the math is going to be easy because we all gave the same rating.
Yep, which means if we all gave it 3.5 out of 5, it should mean that our average is 3.5 out of 5. Oh, look at that. It was. So easy math. So if we don't have anything else to add, just like a little housekeeping. So this marks the end of the first part of the Showa Godzilla movies. We will be taking a small break from Godzilla and we'll be back later this year with more Godzilla movies. But we're gonna take a break to focus on like other films we like, that are older and not just new releases for Godzilla. So those will be coming. We'll also be having our now playing episodes coming out too, so make sure you guys look out for those. And thank you for like listening to us talk about Godzilla for this long. I mean, I know it doesn't look like we have that many, but like we've been doing this for like 7 months now, and I'm really proud of both of you. And thank you to all the listeners. It's just been really fun. So I just wanted to mention that before we close out the show.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I'm so glad that you hit me up to well, really I have Udi to thank because Udi's the one that originally told me about this, but I have you to thank as well, Miranda, for inviting me on because this podcast was your idea, and I'm so glad to be a part of it because it's been great, like meeting up every month and just talking about movies that we love and movies that we've seen. It's been fun, and I can't believe it's been 7 months. Like, wow, time flies. I remember when we were still concepting this, so it's been great to see how far we've come.
Yeah. If it wasn't for your brainchild, we wouldn't be here. So, it's been a fun time, and I'm excited to see what else is in the future. And there's plenty more Godzilla stuff to come too. So,
Oh yeah, we're so because like Miranda said, we're gonna take a break, and then there's a certain film in a certain cinematic universe that's not Marvel or DC that's coming out in March that we are gonna start building up to. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it's been quite fun, and I'm glad that we have been doing this. But I'm gonna officially close out this episode now. So thank you so much for joining us and listening to our conversation about Destroy All Monsters. If you're interested in hearing more, check out our previous episodes. And as always, you can find us on Instagram at Atomic Lizards Pod and on Letterboxd at Atomic_Lizards.